Hey, what's up soldiers, my name is GregFPS and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombies video. Over the past 4 days, we've been getting character bios for the 4 main characters from Origins: Nikolai, Dempsey, Takeo, and Richtofen. If you guys didn't know, the 4th map that came out in this storyline is going to be this Zetsubo no Shima map. So if you didn't remember, back in World at War, with the 4th map, which was Riese, they also released character bios. So it's kind of weird that on the 4th map they're releasing new character bios, but it must be pivotal and important to the zombie storyline. So I'm going to be reading through these character bios that we got recently, as well as the old ones from World at War, and kind of tying them together and seeing what similarities and differences they have. So without further ado guys, let's get right into it. We're going to be starting it off with Nikolai. Nikolai Belinsky, nationality Russian, affiliation Red Army. Forgotten and abandoned on the front lines of Europe, Red Army Sergeant Nikolai Belinsky has learned to survive and endure even in the darkest times. His loyalty to the motherland has seen him battle his own demons, overcoming personal trials that few have ever truly understood. So we don't really get too much description from these new bios. It's kind of just like what they're going through at the moment and what they're going to be doing basically. So let's take a look at the old one from World at War for Nikolai. Nikolai Belinsky. Stalin himself cannot stare Nikolai in the eye. No one can. There in his eyes you will see the soul of a man burning with the hatred of all living things. His closet is full of skeletons, many of them with the flesh still attached. Early in his career, Nikolai had quickly made his way up through the party rankings by killing the next man in line and by marrying politically. Ultimately, his aspirations all came crashing down after his 5th wife mysteriously died while cleaning his axe with her neck. Little did he know that she had been sleeping with a high-ranking party official on the side. This made Nikolai infamous, and his reputation spread quickly through the party. It was not long before Stalin himself had heard about Nikolai. More importantly, he feared Nikolai. As soon as the war started, our hero was dropped on the front lines and forgotten about, where he wallowed in self-pity and vodka for several years. There are many weapons in his arsenal, not least of which is his breath. So it's pretty cool how they kind of bring this World at War thing, and it's crazy how different they are now. Like, the older versions of all these characters are what we're reading from the Riese bios, so it is a lot different, and they're basically changing their way. You don't really see Nikolai talking about vodka anymore. You don't see him, those crazy things where he's talking about his wives. You do hear a little like subtle things about it, but at the same time it's very, very minuscule compared to how often it was talked about in the older games. So it's kind of interesting to see how different it is, and this really kind of explained the entire backstory. So let's go on to the next character. The next character we're going to be talking about is Richtofen. Nationality German, affiliation Group 935. In a former life, the sadistic Dr. Edward Richtofen stood at the forefront of research into the mysterious element 115 and its potential applications for Group 935's wonder weapon program. Now his grand plans for a brave new world guide him through a dangerous path toward an uncertain future. So let's go into the backwards or the Riese bio for Richtofen. Beware the docked, a message that was scrawled across walls of every tower under Axis control. Starvation may cripple you, dysentery may wreck you, and gunfire may rip the flesh from your bones, but beware the dock. This is Dr. Richtofen, known affectionately as the Butcher to his victims as they scream in agony moments before he snuffs out their light. All through his career, Richtofen has been at the forefront of torture and information extraction research. Richtofen is an incurable psychopath that sees no moral distinction between natural death and murder. The victim is the victim, regardless of how their demise manifests itself. Dr. Richtofen has a collection of stuffed animals, most of them posed in positions of terror at the instant of their death. So it's pretty crazy that Richtofen is definitely a lot different. You can tell that, Richtofen's on this new path with this new bio, whereas Richtofen in this old one is so different. He's a complete psychopath. I mean, Richtofen's still weird, but it's just really interesting to see the, difference here. It's kind of weird. So let's go on to the next character, guys. The next one is going to be Tank Dempsey. Tank Dempsey, nationality American, affiliation American Marine. Corporal Tank Dempsey, American hero. Originally assigned to intercept Dr. Richtofen in northern France, which is Origins if you guys didn't know, Dempsey now fights along Nikolai, Takeo, and Richtofen as they attempt to put an end to the enemy war machine once and for all. Now he's seen more than his fair share of bloodshed. Nothing could have prepared him for the events of Der Eisendrache. So let's go on to the one that we see in Riese. Tank Dempsey, American hero. Hand him a loaded weapon, a good woman, and something to shoot at, and he's happy. And rage him, and he will rip your guts out and use them as a bandolier. Dempsey was selected for his mission after he showed his true grit at the battle for Peleliu. Remarkably, though, it may seem, his unit was captured during the early raids before the main invasion, and he spent 2 weeks in a rat-infested bamboo cage submerged in malarian water. Well, that did not stop the tank. After he gnawed his way through the cage, he gnawed his way through his captors armed only with a bobby pin and his Medal of Honor, which he kept secreted in various body cavities. Now you know there's no before the war for Dempsey and there's no after. There's only the legend of Tank Dempsey, and he will win the war for the rest of us. So Tank Dempsey kind of seems the same. He was just a badass, and it showed that he had no emotion. He could get through anything in this world at war bio. And when we see the new one, he wasn't prepared. He had to kill the earlier self Dempsey, the earlier Dempsey, and that changed his mindset. It was actually really tough for him to be able to take out the older Dempsey. So it's pretty interesting how things really did change from the world at war to the new Dempsey. So let's go on to the next one, guys, and this is the final one, and I decided to end it with Takeo because obviously we're going to Zetsubo no Shima, where this is going to potentially be his map most likely. So let's get right into it, guys. Takeo Masaki, nationality Japanese, affiliation Imperial Japanese Army. Captain Takeo Masaki comes from a noble family that has dutifully served the Emperor for decades. After the events of Der Eisendrache, Takeo's unwavering sense of loyalty will be tested as he fights alongside Tank, Nikolai, and Richtofen in their quest to secure a better tomorrow. Alright guys, let's get into the World at War battle for Enter Takeo, for whom life has no meaning if not to perfect your discipline and to reveal true character and honor. Perhaps he ponders his and other philosophical questions as his katana slices through the flesh and sinew of his enemy. Our hero was born into wealth. His family dynasty dates back several centuries, and throughout the time they have been highly decorated samurai and bushi. Well, Takeo is no exception to his celebrated bloodline. Even when the family first saw the young, life-filled 5-year-old Takeo playing in the street with his katana and slicing the tails off terrified kittens, it was obvious he was destined to bring honor to the Masaki name. Reserved and reflective, the war is a perfect opportunity for Takeo to explore his bloodlust and study the nature of those less honorable than himself. So if you fall victim to his swift action, and might know that you have helped a man better than you reach enlightenment. That's a mouthful of words there for sure, but it seems like all these characters, they seem way different from the new character battle. Like they're all set on a mission that, Richtofen is, changed, and they're kind of following after Richtofen's plan. Well, it does seem pretty interesting, guys. Very, very different. So I wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to drop a like. Let me know your opinions of how they're changing and all this stuff. Did you like the older character bios more than the newer ones? Let me know down in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is GregFPS, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.